Hi everyone, I'm Madonna Guy, naturopath and kinesiologist with 30 years experience. I was at a seminar the other day and someone asked about TriGLP and how it affects the sex hormones. So I thought I'd do a quick video on that because there's many ways that supports our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and lots of other things. So the physiology of GLP-1, GLP-2, and GIP, all in this little guy. It supports sex hormones indirectly but powerfully by restoring the metabolic, inflammatory, ovarian, testicular, and hypothalamic environments required for normal estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone production. So these little incretins or peptide hormones, they don't directly make sex hormones. Instead, they repair the upstream systems that regulate steroidogenesis, so the production of these hormones. So let's chat about how it happens because there's quite a few little connections. So firstly, GLP-1. GLP-1 is a metabolic, neuroendocrine, and gonadal effects. So that's where the first little one's going to be. So the evidence actually currently shows that GLP-1 signaling interacts with reproductive hormones in several ways. Firstly, it interacts with estrogens. GLP-1 analogs show sex-specific interactions with estrogen signaling, with emerging evidence that estrogens modulate GLP-1 responsiveness and vice versa. So as our estrogen drops as we age, we stop making GLP-1. So it's harder for us to maintain our weight. It also has an influence on reproductive function and mood. So GLP-1 analogs affects brain circuits involved in appetite, mood, and reproductive behavior with measurable sex-specific differences. So with male hormone effects, GLP-1 receptor agonists consistently increase total testosterone, especially in men with obesity, type 2 diabetes, or functional hypogonadism. So LH, luteinizing hormone, and FSH are preserved or increased, unlike testosterone therapy, which suppresses them. That's pretty cool, eh? So with ovarian physiology, GLP-1 receptors exist on the granulosa cells. So they're little cells on our ovaries. GLP-1 signaling influences granulosa cell proliferation, survival pathways, and steroidogenesis, production of steroids, meaning it can support ovarian hormone production, i.e. estrogen and progesterone, indirectly through improved ovarian function. And the second little peptide, GLP-2, our little peptide hormone, there's a little combination of gut repair, nutrient absorption, and again, steroidogenesis, so the ability to make hormones. So while the research is more limited, GLP-2s are known to increase the actions that support sex hormone production. Why? Because it improves the intestinal integrity and absorption. When there's a better absorption of cholesterol and fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, as well as minerals like zinc and selenium and amino acids, these are all essential substrates for steroid hormone synthesis. So in other words, if you can't absorb them, you can't make the hormones. The second thing is with the GLP-2 is that it reduces gut-driven inflammation. So lower systemic inflammation provides a better hypothalamic pituitary signaling, and therefore ovarian and testicular steroidogenesis improves. The third way that TriGLP supports sex hormones is through the GIP, because adipose signaling, that's the fat signaling, and insulinotropic effects. So GIP has a really unique role relevant to sex hormones. Firstly, the adipose tissue signaling. GIP receptors in adipose tissue influence lipid handling, so fat handling, and adipokine secretion. So healthier adipose tissue reduces aromatase overactivity, which otherwise converts testosterone into estrogen. Now, one of the things that I learned many years ago is that the bigger our tummy fat, the more we can be accidentally converting our sex hormones into the opposite sex hormone. So, for example, with women, if we've got a tummy fat that's too big, we can be converting our estrogen or progesterone into a toxic form of testosterone, which can cause things like the hirsutism, the hairiness, the hair loss and that type of thing. In men, if they have excess visceral fat, their testosterone can be converting into estrogen. So this is one of the reasons when I'm looking at weight, even though some people can be really happy and have some extra fat on them, but if it's at a point where the fat tissue itself is actually releasing over 32 inflammatory hormones, it starts to become a problem, and it's harder to stay happy, healthy, and well when that's going on. So yeah, the adipose tissue signaling is quite a big thing. The second thing is the insulinotropic effects. So stable insulin signaling is essential for ovarian thicker cell androgen production and granulosa cell aromatase activity. So basically it helps to balance the insulin, which is really important. And the synergy that we get with the GLP-1 with these little guys, dual GIP and GLP-1 agonists, you know, the drug injections, they tend to slow superior metabolic improvements, which secondarily improve reproductive hormones. Now, the injections, that improvement continues for a while until it stops because we're blocking natural pathways. Obviously, with the TriGLP, we're giving the body a natural version that is nature identical to what we really would make ourselves, which is why I love it so much from a naturopathic perspective. Now let's talk about the downstream pathways that link the TriGLP to sex hormone balance. So firstly, let's talk about the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. So this is where GLP-1 interacts with brain regions that regulate appetite, stress, and reproduction. Improved metabolic signaling reduces hypothalamic suppression of hormones like GnRH, which normalize as our luteinizing hormone and our follicle stimulating hormones, thereby supporting ovarian and testicular hormone production. The ovarian steroidogenesis, estrogen and progesterone, these are also signaled via the GLP-1 because the aromatase activity, the conversion of androgens to estrogen, is helped by GLP-1. The granulosa cell survival and proliferation, the follicular maturation, and the anti-inflammatory pathways within the ovaries are all supported by GLP-1. So those mechanisms support healthier estrogen and progesterone production. And then with men, the testicular steroidogenesis increases testosterone, again via the GLP-1. So the increased total testosterone in metabolically compromised men, the GLP-1 helps to preserve or increase LH and FSH, unlike your testosterone replacement therapy, and it improves insulin sensitivity and improves Leydig cell testosterone output. That's all pretty cool. So basically it helps men increase their testosterone. That's what we need to know. The adipose tissue and aromatase regulation is about visceral fat reduction, adipokine profiles, and inflammatory cytokines, because the GIP and GLP-1 improve all of this. So that reduces pathological aromatase activity, which otherwise lowers testosterone and raises estrogen. And GLP-2 increases gut integrity and nutrient absorption. So sex hormone synthesis requires cholesterol and B vitamins and zinc and selenium and magnesium and fat-soluble vitamins and amino acids. So GLP-2 improves absorption and reduces gut-driven inflammation, thereby enabling steroidogenesis. Everything about steroidogenesis is what we're after here, the increasing of our sex hormones, which allows us to live a happier, healthier life. So in the hierarchy of TriGLP, how does it support the hormones? So TriGLP will restore things in different people's bodies in a survival critical systems first. So firstly, we need to stabilize glucose and insulin. So we need, because when our glucose and insulin is out of balance, it reduces the ovarian theca overproduction of androgens, it restores granulosa aromatase, and normalizes menstrual cycles. So these little guys help to normalize menstrual cycles. It also helps to reduce inflammation and gut repair. So it improves nutrient absorption, reduces cytokine suppression of GnRH, as well as improving ovarian and testicular steroidogenesis. Another way that it helps is because it restores adipose signaling, so reduces aromatase excess, improves leptin sensitivity, which is critical for ovulation, and improves testosterone production. It also helps to rebuild muscle and mitochondrial function, improving androgen receptor sensitivity, and improves progesterone production via better mitochondrial steroidogenesis. And it also helps with neuroendocrine repair. So GLP-1 improves hypothalamic signaling in the brain, reduces stress, axis suppression of sex hormone, which is really quite a huge thing these days. How many people have a bad week and they don't feel like sex with their partners? It's not a great way to live happy, healthy, and well. So ultimately, what does TriGLP do for sex hormones? With estrogen, it improves our granulosa cell function. We have better aromatase activity. We reduce our visceral fat and therefore reduce inflammatory suppression. And we improve our nutrient absorption via the GLP-2. With progesterone, it improves the mitochondrial steroidogenesis. We have better luteinizing hormone signaling and reduced inflammation in the ovarian tissue. With testosterone for men, we increase the total testosterone with metabolic dysfunction. We have reduced aromatase activity via fat loss, improved insulin sensitivity because we've got improved Leydig cell output, and also we have preserved luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. But we also have positive effects with our little TriGLP guys, with things like kisspeptin, leptins, adiponectins, and cortisol, which all helps with our HPG axis, our ovarian signaling, and testicular functioning, as well as reduced chronic stress and improved sex hormone output. Love them. They do so much. Have a great day.